In storytelling, you have 3 acts. Act 1, peacetime, setting up characters, establishing the scene. Scene 2, disequilibrium, characters face the lowest moment. And Act 3, our finale, order is restored. Usually with a lot of valiant fighting and or explosions, because you can't make them look cool. It's pretty basic knowledge that the finale is the most crucial moment of a story. What everything's been building up to, the payoff, the time for Schwarzenegger to say a one-liner, or a generic alien army to be wiped out. That's it, Optimus. Yeah, take him out.
No, Optimus!
You begged for help. No mercy. Finale is ultimately, in a story, the restoration of peace, and for that reason, it's the last impression a viewer will get of the film, and for that reason, it's very, very important. But hey, it can't hurt to make them look cool whilst doing it, you know? It's uplifting, it's classic, it works. But here's the question. Why is it that defeat equals explosion? I mean, every single one. And yes, I'm looking at you especially, summer blockbusters. Just because you got all the CGI these days doesn't gratify you to cover the screen in fiery flames to cover up the actual lack of depth underneath. And I'm not even talking cliche Michael Bay. Now this is a much bigger issue now. It is the default for the blockbuster, and to date the Marvel Cinematic Universe have not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 films and of exploding ships falling from the sky. Thor 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers 1, Avengers 2, Iron Man 3 and The Winter Soldier. Why did a spy thriller Winter Soldier need a sky battle? Beats me. But with 6 consecutive offences without being challenged, this is becoming more than repetitive, and actually a bit worrying. For the record, I am aware of what I am watching here. That I'm coming to a marketable, cheap Disney franchise and telling it to stop being such a marketable, cheap Disney franchise. But what I'm saying isn't meant with bad intent or genre snobbery. Now, me and my film degree fucking love stupid movies. Stupid movies, popcorn movies, superhero films. If I wanted something deep and interesting, I could go watch 2001 or Hitchcock. But year after year, my priority films are that of Marvel's. Even mindless action, when done right, can be fantastic. Movies are unparalleled in their ability to portray scale. A giant screen, huge speakers with earth-shattering noise. You should use those tools at your disposal there, every now and then, provide pure, overwhelming spectacle. No shame in that. You know, give them the old theme park ride thrill factor. My only problem is that too much of it results in boredom and just, noise. Riding the Amazing Spider-Man ride at Universal is fantastic, it's a great ride, but now imagine every ride at the park is just the same ride remodeled with a different character theme. Like, you know, how they've actually done with Harry Potter and Transformers, but that's a whole nother topic. Suddenly, it gets really old, really fast. I'm not complaining about how Disney aren't making cute little indie Marvel films. I'm just complaining about the way they treat us like idiots. Explosions and intense action are good in the right hands. Think this year's Mad Max, Ender's Game, The Raid. Action is always befitting of the genre. In an action film, you should expect action. Right, but only however much actually fits the story. Then and only then is a gigantic explosive finale deserved. Let's think of some examples. Iron Man 2. A contained, story-serving burst of firefighting. Sure, why not? The Star Wars style sky battle of Guardians of the Galaxy was actually pretty great. It was a fun sequence, and the scale of all of it separated it from all the Earth stuff. Just a shame I was the 5th in a row to do it. And as much as I hate the implications of its aftermath, Man of Steel's final battle is very much built up to, and not just a throwaway textbook finale. Am I actually praising Man of Steel? Jesus. But as these superhero films help summer blockbusters in general prove, is that the big battle can't be simply slapped onto any film to artificially boost the scale. Don't work like that. Marvel's latest Ant-Man also to an extent adheres to the MCU formula. Hell, it's practically Iron Man 1 again. But having the balls to actually go smaller, rather than more epic in scale, is a bold move at this point in cinema. Following Avengers 2, Rise of the Dark of the Moon of the Age of Megatron with a silly hero like Ant-Man results in the film being that little bit more self-aware and modest. Hell, Ant-Man's script makes fun of its own concept so hard that it comes across as a little self-deprecating. But Ant-Man pretty much went down well. It got nice reviews, even made a joke about the giant stuff falling from the sky. So it's nice to see that someone's self-aware in Marvel. It got nice reviews, if understandably a little bit small grossing, and that frankly sucks. A film that didn't feel the need to end with an apocalyptic event, usually involving a famous landmark for brownie points, didn't sell on par with other Marvel standalone films. And all that tells Disney Marvel executives is that bigger and dumber is better. And that's what we want to see. And I really promise you that it isn't. Like, I don't know you personally, but I think it's a fair bet to say that you didn't buy a ticket back in 2012 to see The Avengers, to see Thor, Hulk and Iron Man punch an army of face-look generic bad guys. Nah, you've seen that before. Let's be real, you wanted to know how they'd get along. How Iron Man would react to Captain America and Norse gods, see Steve Rogers and Hulk talk to each other. The arguments, the fights, Whedon's witty dialogue. You ultimately care about character interaction. You want to see them hang out. It's a hangout film because that's what the selling point of a crossover is. But what you love about some of blockbusters ultimately at the end of the day isn't the action. I really don't think it is. It makes for a great spectacle when choreographed well, but that's not what sticks with you. Okay, quick example, the horror genre. Like, it's the cheap jump scare thrills that attract the mass audiences, but the gimmicky jump scares, whilst, shit scary, won't stick with you. The good horror haunts you psychologically and can fuck you up for weeks, or even, months. Action-adventure blockbusters are largely the same, but just with thrill instead of scares. Action-adventure is what superheroes fall under, and the only thing separating Iron Man and Batman from the likes of Arnie, Rambo, and the other macho men is that focus on character, the fixation on emotion. Sure, a giant pointless sky battle will keep you appeased and entertained for a couple of minutes, but will you remember it tomorrow? If you're like me, then the action you remember from, say, The Winter Soldier will be the second act of the film. The highway battle. Bucky and Steve going at it, the knife fights, oh my god, that scene's so good. Or Stark on the racetrack against Whiplash, rather than, the thing at the end. What have we got at the end of both these films? Stuff falling from the sky. A big boom battle. It's not memorable and it doesn't stick with me. These smaller scale fights, on the other hand, are much more memorable because they're that much more intimate. There's actual choreography that has its own style, and it's real. Real. It's not all CGI, and your brain registers that. It's 1,000 times more exciting when we're with our character and feeling the emotions and visceral stylization of the fight, rather than watching digitally rendered action from afar. That's why this will never beat this. You can throw as many animator work hours and lava explosions as you like, but the mere atmosphere and emotions of the scene in the original, that's all you need. And I actually really like the final Mustafar fight, but for a scene so full of emotion, it's surprisingly devoid of life. After a while, it really does just become, Anakin is angry, they fight, the rig falls into the lava, Obi-Wan thinks, Yes, that would look cool. He meets Anakin in the lava. They fight. It eventually ends. The fight itself, no matter how impressive or aesthetically pleasing, means literally nothing if we don't know the emotions at stake. Who's fighting for what and what it means for the combatants. Ironically, my favourite fight scene of all time is a huge overblown samurai fight in the film Sword of the Stranger. It's guilty of a lot of the stuff I've said already, but at the very least it stays with our heroes. We're always focusing on their facial expressions, keeping it grounded in reality. Fights are a vehicle to carry our characters' motives and further the plot, not the other way around. Nothing good will come of a plot that just caters to and awkwardly works around its action scenes. Jurassic World, for example, doesn't have the human element, because its characters are just archetyped tools to take us to the next exhibit dinosaur sequence. Avengers 2 doesn't have time for proper character development in its 3-hour runtime because it has to stop for fight breaks every 20 minutes, even if there's no real reason to. Cough cough Hulkbuster. But goddamn wasn't that scene just the coolest. Ah, man, it would have been even better if there'd been a reason they were fighting. It didn't tie into the plot, it was a distraction. A nerd boner enabled, adrenaline fueled pretty distraction. It's just frustrating because I've seen so much fiction elsewhere that can solve its conflicts in alternative ways. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes the villain can be defeated mentally, diplomatically, or psychologically. Just anything other than a giant emotionless big battle. Tell me, did Harry Potter need a giant wizard war for its finale? No, not really. That story, well, in book form anyway, is actually resolved by the Voldemort-Harry Horcrux fiasco and the natural resolvement of the characters' arcs. The Battle of Hogwarts, as impressive as it may be, is actually just filler, as they retreat only to have Harry come seek them out afterwards. It was done because stories now feel like they're obligated to do it. The narrative villain Obito's motivation and willpower is tested to the limit, and he is defeated by not only being, beaten physically, but also psychologically overpowered from the inside, losing his motivation and doubting himself for just that 1 second. Korra from Avatar only fully grows up and creates a truly happy resolution by risking her life to save her final villain, making an ally of an enemy. Punching only gets you so far, and quickly lasers and swords and martial arts get old. They do, they get old very quickly. In a couple years' time, I am going to be completely bored by CGI explosive finales. I think maybe we all might be, because it's all we get given anymore. As if violence is the way to resolve everything. And to an extent, I hate that. I hate that I'm addicted to these films that behind their great world building and snappy dialogue are totally content resolving all their problems with punching and laser beams. Terrorists, neo-Nazis, mindless evil entities, sure, there's not much reasoning with that. But did the wronged Victor really have to get blown up? Did Ultron? Ultron was immediately just viewed as a threat despite being a newborn entity with a consciousness. He never once tried to be reasoned with, just an object to punch, solve with fists and not intelligence or understanding. Hell, I don't think Thor even knew what Malekith's goal was, never mind tried to resolve it. If I just saw one superhero film do it, just one, no final big battle, big stakes, sure, but no exploding or armies or, hey, maybe not even any killing. Radical concept, I know. But if just one could do it, then maybe I could have hope. No! X-Men First Class! I knew it! You could never let me down. In fact, you know what? That's why I've always liked the X-Men films, actually. Whilst they still had the wars and the duels to give Wolverine something to do, the main conflict is a battle of philosophies. Professor X, Magneto, Charles and Eric, MLK and Malcolm X. That debate is the heart of X-Men. The battles that happen because of that. At the end of this film, there's some combat, 2 squads fighting for the island, but ultimately all the finale of First Class comes down to is Magneto exacting revenge and then picking their sides. The stakes are still sky high, don't get me wrong, thanks to the presence of the nukes, but it's not a battle. Hell, Magneto shows just how one-sided and quick a battle would be. More violence isn't needed. We don't need a showdown where Charles lifts everything with his psychic Yoda mind powers and throws a nuke at Eric, and then Eric's like, no, and he grabs the metal and squishes it. No, it's a little thing called subtlety. It's a smart finale in a superhero film. It can be done. And Marvel, DC, blockbusters in general, you better start realising this, because unless you get your shit together soon, the future is uncertain and very, very boring. But hey, there'll be some cool effects. Yeah. Thank you for watching.
Roll, roll, fight the power!